There are wounds that do not bleed, but they ache every time the heart grows quiet. Someone said something, someone did something, someone you trusted broke something inside you, and the pain did not leave when the moment passed. It stayed, in your thoughts, in your dua, in your chest. My dear soul, understand this gently. Allah does not ignore pain that reaches the heart. When someone hurts you deeply, one of the most painful layers of that experience is the feeling of being unseen. The wound is not only what was done to you, but the silence that follows, the sense that no one truly understands the depth of what you carry. You may smile, function and move through your days while something inside you aches quietly. Words fail you, explaining feels exhausting, and slowly the heart begins to believe that this pain is invisible, but it is not. Allah sees every hidden wound, especially the ones no one else notices. Some pain is loud. It is acknowledged, witnessed, and validated by others. But some pain is subtle. It lives in the hesitation before trusting again. It shows up in the sudden heaviness during prayer. It hides in the way your heart tightens when a memory returns without warning. These are wounds no one claps for you to survive. No one praises your patience for, yet Allah sees them all. He sees the restraint when you choose silence over reaction. He sees the tears you wipe away before they fall. He sees the strength it takes to keep going when your heart feels fractured. Allah's sight is not limited to actions alone. He sees intentions, emotions, and struggles that never take form in words. When you are hurt by someone, especially someone you trusted, the pain often becomes internalized. You question yourself. You wonder if you overreacted, misunderstood, or expected too much. This self-doubt becomes another wound, layered on top of the first. Allah sees that too. He sees the confusion, the self-blame, and the way the heart tries to make sense of what went wrong. There is a particular kind of pain that comes from injustice that cannot be confronted. You may never get an apology. You may never be understood. You may never have the chance to explain your side. That unresolved space can feel unbearable. But Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. His justice does not depend on witnesses, evidence, or explanations. He knows exactly what happened, how it affected you, and what it cost you emotionally and spiritually. Nothing is lost in His awareness. Every tear that fell in private was counted. Every prayer that broke halfway through because emotion overtook you was heard. Even the prayers you could not form into words reached Him. Sometimes the heart is too tired to ask for justice or healing. It only knows how to sit in its pain. Even that state is seen by Allah. He understands silence better than anyone else, because He knows the language of the heart. This awareness is not passive. Allah does not simply observe pain. He responds to it in ways that align with His wisdom. But before any response comes, there is acknowledgement. Knowing that Allah sees your pain validates your experience in a way no human ever could. It means you do not need to prove your suffering. You do not need to replay events to justify your feelings. You are already known, fully, completely. Often the reason pain lingers is because it was never witnessed. Healing begins when pain is seen. This is why turning to Allah is so powerful. In His presence there is no minimization, no dismissal, no misunderstanding. You are allowed to hurt without explanation. You are allowed to feel without being judged. Allah does not tell you to move on before you are ready. He meets you exactly where you are. When the heart truly understands that Allah sees every hidden wound, something shifts. The need for validation from those who hurt you begins to loosen. The heart no longer waits for acknowledgement from people who may never give it. It places that need where it belongs, with Allah. This does not erase the pain immediately, but it anchors it. The pain is no longer floating aimlessly. It is held. Being seen by Allah does not mean the hurt never mattered. It means it mattered so much that it was recorded, preserved, and honored in divine knowledge. And nothing that reaches that level of awareness is ever wasted. The wound becomes part of your story, but not its end. It becomes something Allah will respond to with care, wisdom, and timing far beyond what the heart can imagine. One of the hardest truths for the heart to accept is that Allah's response does not always arrive in a form that can be seen or felt immediately. When someone hurts you deeply, the heart looks for signs, an apology, a reversal, relief, or at least some sense of closure. When none of these appear, silence settles in. That silence can feel heavy, confusing, and even painful. The heart begins to wonder if Allah is listening, if the pain matters, or if justice will ever come. But Allah's silence is never emptiness. It is presence without haste, wisdom without noise. Human beings often equate response with immediacy. We are conditioned to believe that care is proven through quick action and visible change. When those do not come, we assume neglect. But divine care operates on a different scale. Allah's response is not bound by urgency. It is bound by perfection. He sees not only the pain of the moment, but the future it will shape, the heart it will refine, and the protection it will provide. What feels like delay is often careful arrangement. Sometimes Allah delays because an immediate response would not heal the heart. It would only satisfy it temporarily. A quick confrontation might bring momentary relief, but leave deeper wounds untouched. Immediate justice might harden the heart instead of softening it. Allah, in His mercy, prioritizes long-term healing over short-term comfort. He responds in ways that restore balance, not just emotions. There are moments when Allah's response is internal rather than external. While the heart waits for circumstances to change, Allah begins to change the heart itself. He strengthens it quietly. He introduces calm where there was panic, clarity where there was confusion, and patience where there was anger. These changes are subtle, often unnoticed at first, but they are profound. By the time the heart looks back, it realizes it is no longer the same heart that was first wounded. Sometimes the delay exists to protect you from acting out of pain. Hurt can drive the heart to say things it will regret, or make decisions rooted in emotion rather than wisdom. Allah's silence creates space to breathe, space to reflect, space for emotions to settle. In that space, the heart is protected from becoming someone it was never meant to be. What feels like abandonment is often restraint. There are also times when Allah delays because the full picture has not yet unfolded. The heart sees only one moment of pain, but Allah sees the entire path. He knows how this hurt will intersect with future people, decisions, and opportunities. He knows what would be lost if things were resolved too soon. So He waits, not because He is distant, but because He is precise. It is important to understand that silence does not mean nothing is happening. Roots grow in silence. Healing often begins where no one is looking. While the heart waits for visible signs, Allah is arranging circumstances, removing unseen harm, and preparing outcomes that align with divine justice. Some responses are delayed because their impact is meant to be lasting, not momentary. The heart often asks, why hasn't Allah responded yet? When a better question is, what is Allah protecting me from during this time? Delay can be a shield. It can prevent the heart from returning to what hurt it, repeating the same cycle, or mistaking familiarity for safety. In this sense, silence is not empty. It is protective. Trusting Allah during delay is an act of worship in itself. It requires the heart to believe in what it cannot yet see. This trust reshapes the relationship between the servant and Allah. The heart learns to rely not on outcomes, but on divine wisdom. It learns to rest in the certainty that Allah's response, when it comes, will be perfectly timed and precisely tailored. Eventually, clarity arrives. Sometimes it comes as understanding, sometimes as relief, sometimes as distance from the pain, and sometimes as gratitude for what never happened. The heart realizes that Allah was responding all along, just not in the way it expected. What once felt like silence becomes recognized as guidance. Allah does not ignore pain, and He does not delay without purpose. His responses unfold in layers, each one serving a greater good. When the heart learns this, it no longer fears silence. It learns to trust it, knowing that behind every quiet moment is a response being prepared with care beyond human comprehension. One of the most misunderstood forms of mercy is removal. When someone hurts you deeply, the heart often clings even tighter, hoping for repair, change, or explanation. Letting go feels like another loss layered on top of the original pain. Yet there are moments when Allah's mercy arrives not as reunion, but as separation. This kind of response is quiet and often painful at first, but it carries protection that the heart may only recognize much later. Attachment can blind the heart. When we care deeply for someone, we naturally focus on who they were to us at their best, not who they became when they hurt us. We remember moments of warmth, kindness, and shared history, and those memories argue against distance. But Allah sees the full reality, not just what the heart wants to preserve. He sees patterns, intentions, and future harm that may not yet be visible to you. When He removes someone, it is not because the love was insignificant, but because the damage was too great to ignore. Sometimes Allah removes people gently, allowing distance to grow naturally. Other times the separation is abrupt and painful. In both cases, the heart feels confused. It asks why something that felt so meaningful had to end this way. But mercy is not always soft in its arrival. Sometimes mercy is decisive, because lingering would only deepen the wound. Allah knows when staying would cost you more than leaving. There are relationships that teach lessons through their ending rather than their continuation. When someone repeatedly hurts you, disrespects your boundaries, or drains your emotional and spiritual energy, remaining connected can slowly erode your sense of self. Allah's mercy steps in to stop that erosion. Removal becomes a form of preservation. It saves your heart before it becomes unrecognizable to itself. Often, the heart equates removal with failure. It feels like something was lost, wasted, or unfinished. But Allah does not remove without replacing. What He takes away is not taken in isolation. It creates space. Space for healing, space for growth, space for people and opportunities that align more closely with who you are becoming. What feels like emptiness at first is actually room being made. There is also mercy in removal, because it breaks unhealthy dependence. When the heart relies too heavily on another human for validation, comfort, or worth, that attachment can slowly shift focus away from Allah. Painful as it is, separation redirects the heart back to its true source of stability. It teaches reliance on Allah in a way comfort never could. Through removal, the heart learns that its strength does not come from holding on, but from trusting Allah enough to let go. Sometimes Allah removes someone not because they are entirely bad, but because they are no longer meant to walk with you into the next phase of your life. People are part of different seasons. Holding on to someone beyond their season can prevent growth. Allah's mercy lies in knowing when a chapter has served its purpose, even if the heart is not ready to close it. The pain of removal often comes from resistance. The heart fights what Allah is doing because it cannot yet see the wisdom. Over time, that resistance softens. Distance brings clarity. Patterns become visible. The heart begins to understand what it was enduring, excusing, or normalizing. What once felt unbearable becomes understandable. And eventually, it becomes freeing. There is a unique peace that follows acceptance. Not the absence of memory, but the absence of struggle against reality. When the heart accepts that Allah removed someone out of mercy, not punishment, the pain changes shape. It becomes lighter, more manageable. Gratitude begins to replace confusion. The heart realizes it was protected, not abandoned. Removal does not mean the love was meaningless. It means Allah valued your well-being more than your attachment. It means He chose your healing over your familiarity. And that choice, even when it hurts, is one of the clearest signs of divine mercy at work. Pain has a way of entering the heart and reshaping it, whether we want it to or not. When someone hurts you deeply, it can feel as though something has been taken from you, your sense of safety, your trust, your emotional ease. But within that loss, Allah places a subtle transformation. Pain, when carried with patience and sincerity, becomes a means through which the heart is strengthened rather than destroyed. What initially feels like breaking often becomes the very process that builds inner strength. Before pain, the heart is often soft but untested. It loves easily, trusts freely, and hopes without caution. These qualities are not weaknesses, they are signs of purity. Yet without hardship, the heart may not fully recognize its own resilience. Pain introduces depth. It forces reflection. It teaches the heart to pause, to observe, and to respond with awareness rather than impulse. Through this process, wisdom begins to form quietly. When hurt enters the heart, it demands a response. Some respond with bitterness, while others choose growth. Growth does not happen instantly. It unfolds slowly, through nights of thought, moments of prayer, and internal conversations that reshape perspective. Allah uses pain as a tool to refine emotional maturity. The heart learns boundaries. discernment, and self-respect, lessons that comfort alone could never teach. Pain also sharpens awareness. The heart becomes more attentive to what it allows in and what it protects itself from. It learns that not every connection deserves access to its deepest spaces. This awareness is not coldness, it is wisdom. It allows the heart to remain kind without being careless, open without being unguarded. This balance is a form of strength that develops only through experience. There is strength in learning to sit with difficult emotions rather than running from them. Pain teaches patience with oneself. It allows the heart to process loss, disappointment, and confusion without rushing toward false closure. In this patience, the heart grows steadier. It becomes capable of holding complexity without collapsing. This emotional stability becomes a foundation for future relationships, decisions, and challenges. Through pain, reliance on Allah deepens. When human support falls short or fails entirely, the heart turns toward divine support with sincerity. Dua becomes more honest. Prayer becomes more intimate. The relationship with Allah shifts from routine to refuge. This spiritual closeness strengthens the heart in a way nothing else can. The heart learns where true security lies. Pain also builds empathy. A heart that has known hurt recognizes it in others. It becomes more gentle, more understanding, more patient. This empathy is a form of strength that softens the world rather than hardening. It allows the heart to respond with compassion rather than judgment. Through this, pain becomes a means of service, allowing one's experience to bring comfort to others. Strength does not mean the absence of pain. It means the ability to carry it without losing oneself. Over time, the heart realizes it can survive what once felt unbearable. This realization builds confidence, not arrogance, but quiet assurance. The heart no longer doubts its capacity to endure. It knows that even in loss, it can remain intact. Growth through pain also involves letting go of illusions. The heart learns that not everyone will honor sincerity, and not every bond will be protected. This awareness can feel sobering, but it is also freeing. It releases the heart from unrealistic expectations and allows it to love with wisdom rather than naivety. Eventually, the pain no longer dominates the inner world. It becomes part of the story, not the whole narrative. The heart carries its lessons forward, enriched rather than diminished. What once wounded now supports growth. Inner strength emerges not as something loud or visible, but as a steady presence, a calm resilience shaped quietly by hardship and guided by divine wisdom. When someone hurts you deeply, the heart often longs for balance. It wants wrongs to be righted in ways that feel fair and visible. Human instinct leans toward retaliation, confrontation, or at least a clear acknowledgement of fault. This is how people understand justice, through reaction and immediacy. But Allah's justice operates on a level far beyond human emotion. It is not fueled by anger, nor is it rushed by pain. It unfolds with precision, wisdom, and perfect timing. Human justice is often incomplete. It depends on perspective, power, and limited knowledge. People see fragments of the truth and respond from emotion or bias. Allah, however, sees the full reality. He knows what was said, what was intended, what was concealed, and what impact it had on the heart. His justice does not miss details, and it does not overstep boundaries. It is exact. Nothing is exaggerated, and nothing is overlooked. Revenge promises satisfaction, but rarely delivers peace. Acting from hurt can intensify pain rather than relieve it. Allah protects the heart from this cycle by removing the burden of retaliation. When justice is entrusted to Him, the heart is freed from carrying anger and planning responses. This does not mean injustice is ignored. It means it is handled by the one most capable of handling it. Allah's justice is often subtle. It does not always appear as immediate consequences or public accountability. Sometimes it appears as inner unrest in the one who caused harm. Sometimes it appears as loss of blessings, distance from peace, or repeated patterns that lead back to the same emptiness. These outcomes are not random. They are precise responses aligned with divine wisdom. Justice does not always need to be witnessed to be complete. There are moments when the heart feels frustrated because it wants to see fairness play out clearly. But Allah's justice is not performative. It is not meant to satisfy human curiosity or emotional urgency. It is meant to restore balance in ways that serve the greater good. Some consequences are delayed because immediate accountability would not fulfill that purpose. Delay allows space for repentance, growth, or deeper realization. Allah's justice is also merciful. While human justice often seeks punishment, divine justice balances accountability with opportunity for change. Someone who has wronged another may be given time, not as an escape, but as a chance to reflect, correct, and return. This mercy does not cancel justice, it refines it. It ensures that outcomes align with both truth and wisdom. For the one who has been hurt, trusting Allah's justice is an act of surrender. It requires releasing the desire to control outcomes. This surrender does not mean suppressing pain or pretending the harm did not matter. It means acknowledging the hurt while believing that Allah will address it in the best possible way. This belief protects the heart from becoming consumed by resentment. There is also justice in how Allah elevates those who endure harm with patience. Pain endured with dignity is never wasted. It shapes character, increases spiritual rank, and brings unseen rewards. While the one who caused harm may appear to move on unaffected, the one who remained patient is being strengthened and elevated in ways not immediately visible. This too is justice, one that honors sincerity. Sometimes Allah's justice appears as clarity. The heart eventually sees the truth of a situation that was once confusing. Deception becomes apparent. Motives are revealed. This understanding brings closure that no confrontation ever could. It allows the heart to let go without bitterness, knowing that the truth has already been acknowledged by Allah. Divine justice is not bound by time or circumstance. It does not expire, forget, or misjudge. It reaches across moments and outcomes with perfect accuracy. When the heart truly trusts this, it no longer seeks revenge or validation through response. It rests in the certainty that nothing escapes Allah's justice, not even the smallest injustice done in secrecy. After being hurt deeply, the heart naturally wants to protect itself. It tightens, builds walls, and becomes cautious of vulnerability. This response is understandable. Pain teaches the heart that openness can be dangerous. But there is a delicate balance between protecting the heart and hardening it. Healing does not come from closing the heart entirely. It comes from learning how to keep it soft while placing trust in the right place. A heart that remains soft and trusting, especially toward Allah, is a heart that heals. Hardness often feels like strength at first. It gives the illusion of control and emotional safety. When the heart becomes guarded, it believes it will never be hurt again. But over time, this hardness becomes heavy. It blocks not only pain, but also peace, connection, and joy. The heart begins to feel distant from others and from Allah. What was meant to protect becomes a barrier. Allah does not want the heart to survive pain by losing its capacity to feel. He wants it to heal while remaining alive and receptive. Softness does not mean weakness. A soft heart is one that feels deeply but is anchored in faith. It allows emotions to move through without letting them define the soul. This kind of heart cries, prays, reflects, and grows. It does not deny pain, but it does not let pain dictate its character. Softness guided by trust is resilience in its purest form. Trusting Allah after being hurt is not easy. Pain often shakes faith, raising questions about fairness, timing, and protection. Yet choosing to trust Allah in those moments is a powerful act of worship. It is a declaration that even when the heart does not understand, it believes in divine wisdom. This trust becomes a bridge between pain and healing. It allows the heart to rest rather than constantly defend itself. Healing accelerates when the heart